Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our second race of the NRSL Winston Superspeedway Series as we get set to go racing here at Dragonett Superspeedway for our second event. Already these drivers coming off the heel of what was an exciting season opener at the Daytona International Speedway, which saw Levi McIntyre go to victory lane. And now drivers continue on their quest to try and be consistent enough to finish out the regular season inside the top 10 in points. If they can't do that, then at least if they're outside the top 10 in points, they want to have the most wins possible to get one of the two available wildcard positions. There are only 41 drivers in today's field since this track can only hold 41, so the 44 of Seth Cole has withdrawn from the field, and he will get last place points for this race. On the pole position is the 7 of Jonathan Zoerlein, and alongside of him is the 6 of Z Flickinger. Now for Jonathan Zoerlein coming into this race, he's trying to combat a poor finish that he had last week at Daytona. Zoerlein finishing out that race in the 23rd position. Flickinger, on the other hand, had a good run at Daytona. He finished in the 10th position, so trying to stay in the top 10 in the point standings. We'll begin the command to fire the engines very soon, so why don't we give you what the playoffs would look like right now if the season were to begin as far as the postseason and the playoffs. Levi McIntyre obviously has the points lead with his win last week. R Brommer would be second, Austin LaPlante third, Zachary Fitzwater in fourth, and Kyle Keith in fifth. Joseph Srigley, Ashlyn Boyd, Emmanuel Hartnett, Zach Winkle, and Z Flickinger are currently the 10 drivers that would make it in via top 10 in the points. And obviously right now, since we've only had one race and one winner, the two wildcard spots would currently be held by 11th and 12th in points. That's J Richardson and J Bryant. Let's go down and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines! Is that okay?
That was perfectly fine. Not sure if you wanted to ask that while the mic was still on, but you did, and so your 5 seconds of fame are up. You can take a look down in the description at the full starting lineup for tonight's race here at Dragonett. This track, it's been a while since we've actually been back at this racetrack. This track has not been on the Hershey's Cup Series schedule. I believe the last time that we may have been here was back for the Snickers Cup Series All-Star race back in Season 10. So it's been a long time since we've seen drivers racing here at this High Bank Superspeedway, a track that can hold them 3 wide. But much like last week at Daytona, you try going 4 wide and you might be testing the system. Also going to be interesting to see as well about drivers being able to hang on to the race lead. We saw the lead get swapped around an awful lot last week at Daytona. So now the question is it going to be swapped around a lot here at Dragonett, or will somebody be able to get out in front and stay out in front? We ended up having a total of 8 lead changes last week at Daytona. We'll see if we can beat that here today. Field makes its way through turns 3 and 4. This track's just about 2.5 miles in length. But from personal experience of driving this racetrack, in all honesty, it seems like it takes you a lot quicker to get around it than it does at a track of similar size like Daytona. Maybe it's because the speeds are a little bit faster here whenever I've raced, but it just seems that way to me. So here we go, race number 2 of the season, ready to get underway. 31 laps of racing. Zoerlein, Flickinger, get us underway. Green flag is in the air. Already a move to the inside. That's the 36 of J Richardson. As up front, Jonathan Zoerlein will hold the top position. Right behind him, A Garcia in the 5, hoping that inside line moves. And it looks like it may move him to the race lead as he's got the 96 of Alexander Rowe right behind him. Can they get enough speed down here into turn 3 to be able to take the race lead away from Jonathan Zoerlein? Looks like the answer will be yes. Already 3 wide back there. That's Steve Morgan. Was caught in the middle, now moves down to the inside. Now that puts Joshua Ciculli in the middle there, that Lowe's Chevrolet, as the first lap of the day is going to be led by the 5 of A Garcia, but they may be 3 wide by the time they get down here into turn number 1. Nope, they settle back out to double wide. I thought Richardson might make a move there on Rowe, but decided not to, as now Zach Rogers moves up third on that inside line. You'll notice a number of drivers running different paint schemes from what they ran last week. Decided that this season we would at least run 1 primary and 1 alternate for most of these drivers. Top 3 single file. Morgan trying to get single file there in 4th place. Now going to go double wide for 3rd, and now Richardson going to make the move to the inside. That's for the race lead. Chevy versus Pontiac. Which line's going to win out coming to the start-finish line? It looks like it's going to be Richardson. I wasn't certain if he was going to be able to hang on to that because the momentum usually helps off of turn number 4 on the high side. And they are 3 wide back here further. That is Michael Norman, Joshua Ciculli, Ace Garcia, and now the inside is Justin Zajdel. They now settle out to 3 wide. We got trouble. Cars on the wall. We're still green, but one of those cars looked like it was Kyle Keith. Dylan Young may have been another. A few cars got up into the outside wall. They kept it straight, though, and we're still green. Dylan Young, who finished dead last week at Daytona. Kyle Keith, who finished in 5th. Both with early issues here at Dragonett, but without the aid of a caution to be able to help them out. And we are 4 wide back here again. Johnny Gardner in the 46 put in the middle. Levi McIntyre, our points leader, our winner last week, also in there. Shane Lake in the 43 down on the bottom. Ooh, this does not look good off of turn 2. It's Eli Bright there in the 8. Now it's going to get even worse as now the 4 Benjamin Miles is put in the middle. Benjamin had a DNF last week at Daytona, doesn't want to have back-to-back DNFs as we're 3 wide for the lead up ahead there. I don't know if you see that, but the 88 making a move there, JT Bryant. Boy, they are doing a good job holding this 4 wide situation. I would have thought they'd have wrecked by now, but they haven't. Oh man, the 40 of Ryan Brommer, last week's runner-up, almost thought about going 5 wide, and we are now 4 wide, 2 rows deep. How they haven't wrecked, I am not exactly sure, but my goodness, this is a calamity area right now, and you can clearly see there's battling up front. Zajdel is now taking the race lead, Shane Lake trying to get up there, but we're focusing here on this 4 wide, which is now only 1 row deep. Ooh, contact there between Bright and Norman. The reason we're focusing on that is just with the hope and prayer that they can settle it back out without causing a wreck. Right now, Eli Bright put in a very difficult position because there is no lane to the inside for him to be able to try and clear and get back into a 3 wide situation. Michael Norman now backing off a little bit. Maybe Eli Bright will be able to slide up in front of him. Not yet. As up front, it's now Shane Lake on the high side. Ryan Brommer to the inside. Brommer finished runner-up to Levi McIntyre last week. Does not want to do so again this week. He wants to find victory lane. Boy, got to give credit to 2 drivers, Eli Bright and Michael Norman. They have almost literally been leaning on each other in every single corner, and now, finally, there's a gap to the inside for Eli Bright to fit his number 8. And somehow, someway, we got through that entire 4 wide formation for a number of laps, and we are still green flag racing. Johnny Gardner now to the race lead, and Ashlyn Boyd right behind him. Ashlyn 7th in points coming into this race. Would love to have another good run, and oh my goodness, are we going to go 4 wide at the front again? Yes, we are. This time it's going to be Philip Parker making the 4 wide situation. Isaac Nicholls got kicked way up to the high side there in the 12. Now we're back to 3 wide, maybe 4 wide again. Another driver making his way towards the front that had a poor performance last week, and that was Charles Sandfer in the 35. There you see this is orange and white Tabasco Pontiac. Sandfer last week finishing in 41st. And I said that Dylan Young finished dead last. I apologize, he finished in 24th, so I was incorrect in that information. But I'll tell you, some drivers that really wouldn't have minded, I think, seeing a caution flag are those drivers that have kind of lost the draft. There is Kyle Keith. You see that right side damage after he got up into the wall. Dylan Young has lost the draft as well, and there's a number of others back here that have also lost the draft. You've got Manuel Hartnett there. You've also got 22 car of Tony Green, J Jefferson, Preston Plourd, James Shelly, Austin LaPlante, and is that the 28? Yes, it is. That is Dallas McIntosh. We've all lost this lead pack. But we may end up having another yellow pretty soon. Or have a yellow pretty soon because we're 4 wide again. And there they go! Big wreck! Zach Winkle, Isaac Nicholls, Zajdel's involved. And now they're going to come flying in. Hartnett just clobbered Zajdel. Zajdel, the 94, flipping. There's somebody else up here in big trouble. That's Tony Green in the 22. And there is Zach Winkle in the 97. Caution is out. Big break for Dylan Young and Kyle Keith. And oh man, they're 4 wide again here, coming to pacing. Benjamin Miles and Alex Gray. Oh boy. Oh no, that's not Alex Gray. I'm sorry, that's Patrick Smith in the 98. Michael Norman there, side by side with Joseph Srigley. Looks like they will get it all settled out, though, maybe, by the time they get to the back straightaway. Diego Yepez in the 1 was also involved in that wreck. I failed to mention him. And the importance of that was he was the driver last week that finished dead last at Daytona. Looks like he's going to suffer another DNF and only his 2nd start of the season. Johnny Gardner was the leader when the caution came out. He's waiting for the pace car to pick him up here in turn number 3. We're about maybe at least 6 cars involved in that wreck. 4 from the initial contact to start the wreck, and then a couple of drivers that were stragglers that were not able to make it through without getting involved in some way, shape, or form. Those 2 in particular would be Tony Green and Emmanuel Hartnett. And based on what I saw right there, there were a couple of drivers that were running really well in the points, got caught up in that might be leaving Dragonett outside the top 10 in the point stands after coming into this race inside the top 10. Hartnett came in 8th and Winkle came in 9th. Pace cars finally picked up Johnny Gardner, so let's take a look at a replay what put us under the caution for the first time here today at Dragonett. Well, they had a 4-wide formation before and got through with no trouble, so there was a little bit of hope that maybe they'd do it this time. But watch that black car right there in the middle. That is Diego Yepez. And right here, I think, there's a bit of a bump on the inside line. I think that might send the 1 up into the 97 of Zach Winkle. Now, at this point, there's still no contact. Right there. You see the 1 car gets up the track, nowhere for Isaac Nicholls to go, and right there you see the 94 of Zajdel get clipped, and that is a hard lick as well for the 94 car. Hard lick for all 4 of these drivers, to be perfectly honest. And then we're going to see coming into view here those stragglers. There is Tony Green, and right there is Emmanuel Hartnett. And that's going to be enough of a hit at such an angle it sends the 94 up and onto his lid. And the car does indeed completely flip onto its roof. I thought for a moment it might stay on its side, but nope, it does go completely over on its lid. And that is a wild ride for Justin Zajdel, another driver who came into this race running fairly well in the points. He was 14th in the standings coming into this race. So as I stated, about a 6-car incident here puts us under the first caution about a third of the way through this race at Dragonett. Green flag set to come back out in the air. Charles Sandfer, you see, was listed as the leader. The leaders all came down to pit road, and Sandfer crossed the line as the leader when all the drivers hit pit lane. But James Richardson will get us back underway here as the green flag is back out. These drivers only 1 pace lap. The caution comes out, pits are open, and then we go green the next time around, giving us the opportunity for more green flag lap racing here at Dragonett. Drivers that did not make it back for this restart included Basically, the 6 that were involved in that wreck: Z Winkle, Diego Yepez, I Nicholls, Justin Zajdel, Emmanuel Hartnett, and Tony Green. So no doubt Winkle and Hartnett will fall outside of the top 10 in the point standings. One lap down is the 18 of Preston Plourd. We're not certain what's wrong with his Pontiac to have put him behind the lead lap drivers, as we got a battle up front here. William Brock trying to take the lead from Philip Parker. And also, as we mentioned, that caution, a bit of a godsend for not only some of those stragglers that were back there, but a couple of drivers that had lost the draft, including Dylan Young and Kyle Keith. We'll see if they've been able to make any forward progress now up inside the lead pack. Brock with the lead, Parker in second. We start to see some new faces up here at the front of the field. Still a long ways to go in this one, though. Michael Norman now side by side with Brenna Carmichael for third. Ashlyn Boyd right there, along with Zachary Fitzwater, a couple of drivers that finished top 10 last week. Fitzwater finished top 5 at Daytona last week in 4th place, trying to ride that momentum here in this one. Now, there are a couple of drivers that did have a bit of damage from that incident that took place at the beginning of this race, but didn't exactly bring out a caution. One of them, notably Kyle Keith in the 42. Now, he did not come to pit road after receiving the damage he had. He had quite a bit of extensive right side damage on his Bell South Chevrolet. He did not come to pit road, so you got to wonder, under this caution, were they able to get that car repaired enough to have him be running completely up to speed? Let's actually find out, and I think there is your answer. He's already lost the draft again. Right side has been repaired, but apparently that has affected him speed-wise. Maybe he got a pretty good lick into the outside wall. There is why Preston Plourd is off the lead lap. And I might be wrong, but I have a feeling it's the Dragonett glitch has struck him. Notice the 18 pit stall and the 77 pit stall are both in the same area. Well, if you don't remember the All-Star race that we had here in the Hershey's Cup Series, the incident involving Jacob Lawler and Levi McIntyre, well, then this track has an area where there are 2 pit stalls that are exactly the same area. And I don't know if maybe that could have affected the 77 of Srigley in some way. Oh yeah, there's your answer. A lot of damage on the 77's left side, and that would undoubtedly be from a pit road incident between himself and Preston Plourd. Got some more stragglers back here too. Z Flickinger, Dylan Young, and Eli Bright. And I'm not certain why they would have lost the draft, unless maybe they started behind one of these drivers here, and it slowed up their progress. Preston Plourd now just leaving pit road. He is multiple laps down, 4 to be exact. However, if we have another big wreck, if the attrition builds up here during the course of this race, he might be able to pick up some valuable positions. And remember, every position is a point. Oh, got a car up towards the wall. That was Phil Parker in the 71. He saved it, but we got a wreck. Caution's out. James Shelly, Charles Sandfer. Oh, Shelly up and into the air, flipping wildly after getting clobbered by Z Flickinger. Ace Garcia was involved as well. And a wild ride for James Shelly. Caution will wave. They'll race back to the start-finish line. Second yellow of the day, and leading us under this caution will be the 30 of William Brock. Mentioned, would a driver be able to get to the front and stay at the front? Well, William Brock pretty much dominated that run from caution to caution. Never really let anybody take the lead from him, but the yellow flag is out. Another big wreck, this time on the back straightaway. And again, we had another driver flip. And again, another caution, kind of saving Eli Bright and Dylan Young. So we'll have to see how this one shapes up. We've only got one pace lap to be able to show you what happened, so let's quickly go and take a look at a replay. I told you I saw the 71 of Phil Parker out of shape. Here's why. Watch here as they head down into turns 1 and 2. 71 is on the outside. Johnny Gardner in the middle. Ace Garcia down on the bottom. And let's see where the initial contact begins. They're 4 wide up ahead of him there. That's Alex Gray, Michael Norman, Zachary Fitzwater with Ryan Brommer on the bottom. Preston Plourd in the 18 is returning back to the racetrack, and I wonder if he might have had something to do with this. Nope, absolutely nothing to do with it. Ace Garcia just moves up the racetrack there into Johnny Gardner. Joshua Ciculli in the 31 got a little piece of it, but he held on to it, kept it straight. James Shelly had nowhere to go, though. Alexander Rowe, Brenna Carmichael gets a piece of it as well. Charles Sandfer backed up behind this. He's going to get a hit in the passenger side door right there from the rear of James Shelly, and then it sends him up into Ace Garcia. So Sandfer did not get away unscathed. And then we're going to fall back here to the 23 of James Shelly, because watch this hit he's going to take right here. Flickinger full speed, thinks that he's going to be able to get by on the inside line. No such luck. Clobbers the passenger side of that number 23. And James Shelly goes for a wild barrel roll down this back straightaway. Like I said, Preston Plourd returned back to the track to try and pick up spots. He may pick up a number of spots. So a number of drivers got some pretty extensive damage in this wrecked second caution of the day at Dragonett. While the pits were open, some drivers elected to come to pit road, others did not. Nathan Stapleton, who was second when the caution came out, deciding to stay out. He inherits the lead from William Brock, who decided to pit. So it'll be Stapleton with the lead, J Bryant second, Levi McIntyre in third, then Tim Walsh and Benjamin Miles will be your top 5 as we're back underway here on lap number 20. We've got 11 laps to go in this race. Drivers out of the race after that incident. Ace Garcia, James Shelly, and Zach Flickinger. So there's at least 3 spots that Preston Plourd will be able to pick up before this race is over as JT Bryant goes to the race lead. And here comes Levi McIntyre looking to go 2 in a row here in the 99. And his nemesis, the driver that was trying to take the win away from him last week, Ryan Brommer in the 40, right up here at the front of the field as well. Saw William Brock decide to give up the lead to come to pit road. And after coming to pit lane, Brock restarted in the 17th position. He had a very strong car out in front. We'll have to wait and see if he can make his way back to the front of the field. Meanwhile, pole setter Jonathan Zoerlein will go to the inside of Levi McIntyre, trying to go coast to coast in the Phillips Ford. Pole to win. A couple of those Robert Yates cars up here now. Saw JT Bryant up front for a brief moment, and his teammate in the 28, Dallas McIntosh, is now up inside of the top 5. A couple of other drivers have now made their way to the front we haven't talked about today, including Patrick Smith there in the 98, the 10 of Angel Navarro, and look just back at the tail end of this pack, there's the 55 of J Jefferson. He was a driver who, back before the first caution came out, had actually lost the draft and the lead pack and was trying just to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Got that timely caution, and now he's up here trying to battle inside the top 10. He crossed the line last time by in 9th place. Navarro taking a peek, maybe 3 wide on Smith and Zoerlein, who made a little bit of contact there off of turn 2. Keep it double wide for the moment. 7 up top, 98 down low. And now Navarro's going to dive to the inside, 3 wide. He thought about doing that in 1 and 2, thought better of it. So we're 4 wide at the tail end of this pack. They are literally leaning on each other, are Ryan Brommer and Joshua Ciculli, with JT Bryant to their outside, Tim Walsh to their inside. Trying to catch this group is Ashlyn Boyd in the 16. As up front, Navarro now has Benjamin Miles to the inside for the top position. Alex Gray there in the 90 is caught into this lead pack, bringing Nathan Stapleton along with him. wide, and now they're going to go, well, I thought it was going to be 3 wide for the lead, but Angel Navarro now tucks in behind the Kodak Chevrolet. But J Jefferson with that inside momentum, he will go to the race lead, getting pushed there by Alex Gray. And now Jefferson jumps up to the top side. That's going to open the door down low for Gray to take the top position. Stapleton offering the drafting help. Tim Walsh there as well in the 13. Up in this lead pack, we've got about roughly 14 cars. And if this thing goes green to the end, these may be the 14 to settle it out. You've got 15th place back there, Zach Rogers, trying to lead a second group, along with James Richardson, Shane Lake, Michael Norman, Johnny Gardner. I believe that's Zachary Fitzwater as well as Steve Morgan, but there's only 7 of them in this group. There's about, as I mentioned, 14 up in this group. As Tim Walsh trying to take the race lead now away from Nathan Stapleton. Stapleton finished 20th last week, Tim Walsh 34th. Both trying to recover from rather dismal finishes. Oh, they saved it! Oh no, they didn't! One car just wheel hopped in the air, Navarro is around. Only one car spinning. The 10 of Angel Navarro, but the question is it enough to bring out a caution? Yes, it is. Caution is out for the 3rd time. And this is the race back to the line. Tim Walsh looks like he's going to have it over Ryan Brommer. They had it saved. It looked like. It looked like the car that got hit might have been, I don't know if it was the 9 maybe of Fitzwater. But he went to the apron and he saved it. Then there was a little bit more contact, it looked like, between Ciculli and Navarro, and somebody wheel hopped. And by wheel hopped, I mean that their entire front wheel came off the ground. We'll get a more in-depth look at what happened. I don't know if these drivers have come to pit road or not. We saw William Brock took the opportunity to come to pit road under the last caution. That was from the race lead. We'll have to see in just a moment if any of these leaders decide to stay out and keep their track position, or are they going to have to come to pit road with maybe the possibility of fuel being a concern. We're quite lucky, to be honest, that that was, at the end, just a single car spin. There's the contact. Joshua Ciculli kind of running Patrick Smith up the racetrack into Navarro. Navarro realizing that, turned down and kind of had the whole procession go down the racetrack. They continue to beat and bang on each other. And right there's the wheel hop I was talking about for the 31 of Ciculli. And he goes down and gets into Ashland Boyd in the 16. Fortunately, though, himself, Patrick Smith, and Ashland Boyd all are able to keep their cars straight. Navarro not so lucky as he spins down to the inside. And since his car was sideways up on the racing surface rather than spinning out when he got down there on the apron, that was enough for NSRA officials to throw the caution. Tough break there for Navarro. He was running up inside of the lead pack with a shot maybe of winning this thing. Now he's got damage and he's lost a ton of track position as a result of this spin down the back straightaway, putting us under the caution for what could potentially, fingers crossed, be the final time today here at Dragonett. The light should go out atop the pace car here when he hits the back straightaway. We will go back green with a total of 4 laps remaining here at Dragonett. Nobody came to pit road, so they're all keeping their track position. We're going to have to see if they've got enough fuel to make it to the end. Tim Walsh will be the race leader. Ryan Brommer currently in second. Third place will be Benjamin Miles with Nathan Stapleton in fourth. J Bryant completes the top 5. Then your top 10 are going to be Alex Gray, Jonathan Zoerlein, J Jefferson, Levi McIntyre, and Michael Norman. You see there, the lights have gone out top the pace car heading into turn number 3. We will go back green flag racing. After that incident, nobody out of the race. 31 drivers on the lead lap, 32 still running. Preston Plourd 5 laps down, but he's managed to at least look like he'll finish this race out in the 32nd position, which is a sight better than 41st. Obviously still not the day Preston was looking for. And this now puts a number of drivers that were outside of that lead group before that caution came out now back up into the forefront, and we could see somebody outside of the top 13, top 14, be able to make their way up here to the front in the span of these 4 laps and maybe steal this checkered flag away. You've got J Richardson back there, Shane Lake, Zach Rogers. They were all leading that second pack before the caution came out. Now they're up here with a chance to get to the front. Green flag back in the air, 4 laps to go here at Dragonett. Ryan Brommer finished bridesmaid last week at Daytona to Levi McIntyre. Right now running in second, does not want to finish bridesmaid again. He's going to make the early move to the inside on T Walch for the top position. A couple of Fords stepping out of line there. N Stapleton with J Bryant. Take them a little bit of time to get formulated up here, but I expect to see these guys probably racing 3 wide up towards the front again as Stapleton now makes a move to the inside for the top position. Don't look now though, Alex Gray with a big run on the inside. He might try and go to the inside line to take the top position out of turn number 4. Michael Norman right there in that Wheaties Chevrolet, that bright orange car. We haven't really heard the last of him, I don't think. J Richardson now in this lead pack. There's Zach Rogers. There is Zachary Fitzwater, Shane Lake. They're all up here now in this lead pack, and we may not have heard the last of them. Ray now with the lead. Zoerlein second, not for long. Norman sticks the nose to the inside, side by side for the runner-up position. Now going to go for the race lead is Michael Norman. He's got a rear deck lid full of J Richardson, who then is followed by last week's winner, Levi McIntyre. If we can get back to the white flag, we'll race it back no matter what. We got some drivers pitting. That was Levi McIntyre and Dallas McIntosh. Fuel could be a concern for a number of these leaders. Charles Sanford just left pit road in the 35. Brenna Carmichael in the 73, just leaving pit lane. And I think some drivers might be running out of fuel back here. No, I guess not, but they've really split up. Next time around, it's the white flag when they hit the line. If they can get to the white, we will race back to the checkered flag no matter what. With Zach Rogers with a big run there in the 24, and Zoerlein's going to have to pit. It's Norman, Richardson, Gray, top 3, then Rogers, then Fitzwater. Who's going to lead when they get back to the checkers? Here comes Richardson for the top position on Michael Norman. Alex Gray, a big run. He might take the 2 of them 3 wide down this back straightaway if he can. Rogers takes a look to the inside 3 wide now. He's got Fitzwater helping him. Rogers might try and go for a second. He might try and go for the lead if he can get to the inside of Richardson. He's there. Fitzwater offering the drafting help. Could be a drag race here between the 24 and the 36 coming out of turn 4. Fitzwater down low helping Rogers. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Zach Rogers will win race number 2 at Dragonett. Zach Rogers was leading the second pack of drivers before that last caution came out. Maybe a miracle caution for the 24 team as it got them back up in the lead pack. And Zach Rogers capitalizes with his first trip to victory lane this season, taking the checkered flag here today at Dragonett Superspeedway. Last week at Daytona, Zach Rogers limped home in a DNF finish of 32nd at Daytona. Today, they are going to make huge strides in the point standings with a trip to victory lane. The Jurassic Park Chevrolet with the win here today, and the standings now should be official. Had to wait a little bit there because of drivers that had come to pit road there in the closing stages of this race, and it's going to affect their good finishes, no doubt about that. Rogers with the win. Zachary Fitzwater, second race, second top 5. Finished 4th last week at Daytona, finishes 2nd here today at Dragonett. J Richardson will finish the day out in 3rd. J Jefferson will finish 4th with Alex Gray in 5th. Then completing your top 10 were Michael Norman, Johnny Gardner, Shane Lake, William Brock battled back for a 9th place finish. And how about Dylan Young, a driver who was struggling most of the day to stay up in the lead pack? He's going to get a top 10 finish. Phil Parker gets 11th. Stephen Morgan is going to get in 12th. Ashlyn Boyd, Angel Navarro, and Eli Bright, your top 15. Navarro was the driver who brought out the last caution. He gets a top 15 finish. Then it was Austin LaPlante, Joseph Srigley in 16th, 17th. Kyle Keith, damaged race car, and also is Srigley. They get 17th, 18th. Alexander Rowe was 19th with Jonathan Zoerlein in 20th. And from Zoerlein on down, these were drivers that basically had to pit in the closing stages. Nathan Stapleton 21st, Levi McIntyre 22nd, Brommer 23rd, McIntosh in 24th, J Bryant 25th, Miles 26th, Walsh 27th, Patrick Smith in 28th. And that was the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Finishing off the lead lap were the cars of Brenna Carmichael, J Ciculli, and Charles Sandfer. They were 29th, 30th, 31st. Preston Plourd 32nd, 5 laps down after the glitch between his and Joseph Srigley's pit stall. And then the drivers that finished this race out of the race: A Garcia, James Shelly, Z Flickinger, Z Winkle, Diego Yepez, I Nicholls, Jordan Zajdel, Emmanuel Hartnett, and Tony Green. Seth Cole will finish 42nd, did not start this race, and we had those many drivers out of the race after 3 cautions during the course of today's event. But what a race! No doubt in my mind, Zachary Fitzwater is probably going to take over the points lead heading into next week's race, which will be from the M&M's Superspeedway. So thank you all for tuning in to today's race. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results. These are your point standings heading into next week's race, race number 3 from M&M's. Till then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NC Ray Offline Racing at its best.